What's up, kid? Hector Rico again. And on today's video, I will be discussing both polygamy and monogamy, okay? As a trucker, I've come across all walks of life, okay? I've seen all types of people, stuff that you only see or hear about in a magazine or some movie, and you think, that can't be real. But I bumped into them, okay? Let's see here. I met, so far, 2 different polygamists, okay? One of them came from Africa. I had to train him to drive. He had 2 wives, okay? And the other guy, he was a young man, a little bit younger than me, and he was a homeowner. He had about at least like 4 or 5 women living with him. And he got a good laugh because I told him, I'm like, he asked me, he's like, come on, man, you know how I live. I said, yeah, man, you're spinning plates. And he couldn't stop laughing. He got the joke. All right. Okay, joking aside, here's what you're looking at now, okay? Some of you have probably seen that Bible verse that says that in times like this, there's going to be 7 wives for 1 husband. And I'll tell you a little bit more into that, okay? 7 wives unto each husband. Oh, yeah. I also had this one family member. He was a Native American. He had 2 wives as well. They were twin sisters. Then, me, I watch the Spanish news, right? Usually about 3 p.m., they play the Spanish news. It's like tabloid, sensational journalism. It's like just a big, goofy show, and they'll have real pieces of news in there. But the rest is just goofy stuff. And more you see it, there's going to be a Giga Chad that got married to like, I don't know, like 5 or 6 girls at the same time. And he went viral for it. So it's becoming more and more common. Then you're going to be seeing it more and more. And let me explain something to you. It's not just going to be the Giga Chads. It's going to be poor people too. But it's not going to be for the reasons that you think, okay? I'm from Texas. And look it up if you don't believe me. But in Texas, just for you to be above the poverty line in a dual income family, not even married, just a dual income family with 2 children, for you to be above the poverty line, that's going to be about $67,000 a year, okay? Just to be above the poverty line. All this other stuff, it ain't a joke. Like daycare and all this other stuff, it's not to be taken lightly. Okay? That's some serious money. And you're going to see a lot of weird stuff coming up pretty soon. Not only are you going to be seeing polygamy, but I'm telling you, all this stuff with like son husbands, don't be surprised if there, and I've seen it too already, there's going to be like one single mom with like 2 or 3 son husbands. I kid you not. As disgusting as that sounds, it's going to happen. I could tell you one story that's kind of like PG YouTube friendly, okay? Where do I begin with this one? I'll confess to this one. Okay, when I was trucking, I was in Georgia, and I was sitting at this one restaurant, because when you're a trucker, you take a day off. You have to take 2 days off. Like, they only let you legally drive like for like 5 days straight. Then you have to do like a certain 34-hour reset. And I was sitting in Georgia at this one restaurant, and I guess they had been watching me for a while. I was just there with my comic book. I already got done eating. And these two college age girls, they approached me, and one of them bought me a drink, like some milkshake or something, and they both sit down with me. So I had like a coffee date with two girls at the same time. And that lasted about half an hour till their parents showed up, then they split to go sit with them. And me saying that, I'm telling you, you're going to see poor people doing the polygamy thing too. You're going to see a lot more weird stuff like that. Everybody in the restaurant was looking at me. They're like, what's this guy doing? All right. Okay, now let's see if I could talk about monogamy. Monogamy, okay. We've all heard the myth of a loyal girlfriend or the myth of a loyal wife, but none of us have ever seen one. I know about a handful of guys that have no business at all being single. Okay? None. On paper, these guys are a catch. But yet, they can't freaking get a serious relationship going. Maybe it's because the girl wants a toxic one like they see on the internet. Okay. One other thing, I want you to ask any guy, okay? Ask him straight out, when was the last time that he had a date set up, right? That he met some girl somewhere or other, and that girl straight up tells him, you are my first choice for a date tonight. Okay? Any of you guys out there reading or watching this, I want you to leave a comment. When was the last time that you knew full well that girl, you were just like the plan B guy. Nothing else worked out that night, so she took you out. You were like the last resort because she's already all dressed up, ready to go. But everybody else turned her down. They flaked out on her too. So by the time she got to you, she already exhausted all of her other options. And the whole entire time, if you were dumb enough to go out with her, you already got this ugly, sinking gut feeling. You know it's just a big waste of time. You know that you're a total joke to her. Just another excuse to take selfies that night. Yeah, polygamy is here. But it's like way too easy for a girl to do some polyamory thing. Okay? Stuff is way different. None of this stuff is normal. Okay? None of this stuff you see is normal at all. Before, I remember, let's say that was a relationship, that was a guy with his girlfriend, and it wasn't all this social media, smartphone stuff. She just wanted his validation. Now she could just pick up her phone, get whatever validation she wants. The whole relationship is obsolete. Okay? And all these dating apps and all this hookup culture crap, it's teaching you the grass is always greener on the other side, and it never is. Okay? Who does this more, guys or girls? Let's say you actually do go on that weird date. What does the girl start doing? She pulls out her phone, and who's she talking to? She's talking to Nick Starbucks Frank Olive Garden, and Chad Thundercock. All right there on her contacts list, right? It's like, guys, we have the decency to not be doing something like that in front of the girl, don't we? While we're on the subject of polygamy and monogamy, all right. So, so Andrew Tate, he's known for like his mansion full of like cam girls, right? But here's what you don't know. Something that Andrew Tate does is like for him to even date the girl, he tells her like, look, I can't hang around with burnouts. Like Andrew Tate will buy boxes full of makeup, right? Wholesale. Cuts out the middleman. And he'll on the makeup, it'll be his logo. It'll be that chest piece that says Top G. Then he tells that girl, go sell it. I need to know that you're making money or I would not be like letting you anywhere near me. And he notices like which girls have like more like business smarts and work ethic and stuff, and he'll take it further. He'll buy them a boutique. So whenever like you've seen it yourself. Girls go to Romania all day just to go try to see if they can hang out with him, or at least take a picture in like his mansion or something. And me, I wouldn't say I adopted that, but I'd already been doing that before I learned that he did that. Like, I do not want to hang around with my guy friends, right? Like, let me give you two examples. I had this one cousin of mine, and he denies it, but he's a total bum. And I told him, I was like, look, I could buy you like about $200 worth of like haircut supplies, right? One moment. I could buy him like $200 worth of like haircut and equipment, and all the other stuff he would need, like the barbicide and everything else. He knows everybody. He lives in this one apartment. He's like, I told him, I was like, look, cut everybody's hair. All these kids are fixing to go to school. They all need a haircut. Like, ask the parents for practice. They'll save money, and you could just get practice in, and just keep going. In a year from now, I'll ask you to pay me back. I just need to know you're not burning out. You're not a bum. And he thought I was joking, but then when he saw me with like a box full of stuff for him, he gets all offended and tells me he's not going to go ahead and go through with it. Needless to say, I cut him off. And every now and then this bum comes back out of nowhere. He's like, he only calls me when he needs something, like a ride or something. I'll tell him, you know who could afford an Uber? A barber. And he gets all mad and offended and stops talking to me. I'm like, I'm not talking to you. I don't care about you. A while back, there was this other burnout. I told him like this. I was like, hey man, if I get you the CDL, would you be willing to be trucking with me for like 6 months at least? Just so I can get back on my feet. I need like 6 months, and then you could just quit. You could do whatever you want. Just give me 6 months of being on the road with me. And I told him, I was like, I'm not really interested in like burning out the way we were when we were teenagers. We're adults now. I just need your help. And of course, he flaked out too. He didn't want to do it. He's never had a job. I'm like, oh man, what a moron. And then, if I don't even want to hang around with burnout guys, why would I want to hang around with burnout girls? I'm telling you, I could buy enough overhead, right? Enough overhead supply stuff to get a girl like her own side hustle. That way I know she's at least like making money for herself, just to have like some kind of financial like independence to where she's not worried about having money. I'm telling you, man, like me, when you're getting older, not only are you always trying to save money, you're trying to save time. You look at different seminars on how to like stop wasting time. You don't really realize how important time is until you're like in your 30s and 40s. But yeah, I mean, the first guy, the barbershop guy, he cares more about some flavor of the month relationship than he does about just getting money on your own, man. I mean, who thinks like that? I cut people off all the time, man. I kid you not. And I'm okay with that. I don't like hanging around with burnouts. I don't. Look at all the different, like, hobbies and stuff you can find on Pinterest. Like, they teach you how to make silicone molds so you can make your own handmade soap. I see people do stuff like that all the time on the street. They always got some kind of weird craft that they're selling, soap, candles, whatever the hell it is. But they keep it all the money. They make enough profit to take care of the overhead, and then they made money. You know? Maybe I'm just at that age where I just see a lot more stuff more clearly. Like, why would I care about a relationship if the girl, like, isn't making money? Or, I mean, I take it as a personal insult. I'm trying to share wisdom and knowledge with her, and she's just throwing it away like it's nothing. Wouldn't you? All of this romantic falling in love crap, that's for teenagers that don't know what paying bills are, but yet they still want the newest iPhone. Or am I wrong? Tell me I'm wrong, man. They come up with a new slogan like every couple years. I remember when it was chivalry's dead. All that really translates to is like a woman doesn't want to pull her part of like respecting you. That's all it meant. A guy still has to do everything he has to do to survive, but the woman won't respect you. And then you had all this you only live once nonsense. When you see a slogan like that, just know there's no foresight in that at all. It's just meant for you to say, hey, all right, time to burn out. Okay? That I can remember off the top of my head, I had about 2 relationships like that. I wouldn't even call it a relationship. But I was dating this and that, and I kept telling them, like, look, like, it sickens me to know that you're not trying to make your own money. I could buy you the stuff you need to make your own little small business. Needless to say, I cut them off because they weren't listening. It's like, me, when I'm my own boss, I make money. I was a security guard for like almost 5 years. And I was making so much money that when the end of the month came by, when it was time to pay the car note, when it was time to pay the cell phone, whatever it was, I wasn't even sweating it at all. It's like I thrive when I'm my own boss. Trucking too. I've been doing that on and off about 2 or 3 years straight. I assure you right now, you want to talk about monogamy and relationships and stuff? A girlfriend is the last thing any guy needs to be worried about right now. No one understands the severity of all this inflation stuff. The paycheck stayed the same wages. What's your standard of living? What's your standard of living if like all the rent is going way up, but your paycheck is still the same? It's like, it's not going to end well at all. But that's just me. I know what works for me. I've studied myself. I know I have autism. I know what I could do, what I can't do. When I was trucking, when I'm trucking, all of a sudden, by some weird coincidence, all these girls that turned me down or flaked me out on a date, that's when they start DMing me again. Some of them I haven't talked to in ages. I can't even remember who they are. I can't recognize their face. It's all drugged up and they didn't age well. And they try reminding me of something, and then I tell them, why would a date with you mean something now? It would have meant something back then, not now. And the weird part is, after a while, they start dropping hints about they need like a certain amount of FU money so they could leave me and go start off somewhere else. And I'm like, are you kidding me? That reminds me of that thing that Thanos said. What did he say? He's like, you couldn't live with your failure, so that you so you return to me. No, a man could be monogamous. You see this background? That's called a sarape. Okay? That's the universal symbol for I'm a family man. Okay? I assure you, if I had a kid with a girl, I will do everything in my path to make sure that kid never goes to public school. If I had any kid with a girl, knowing that Asperger's syndrome gets passed down to that kid, I'll never be jealous of him. I want to make sure he has the life that I would have needed. If he could outdo me in school or sports or any walks of life, that would be my greatest achievement. It's different for different people. Maybe that's the path for somebody else. It ain't for me. I wouldn't want to do like polygamy. Like, it takes a lot of energy, like a lot of masculine energy, just to spend a day with a woman. It's like, I assure you, man, I wouldn't cheat, because what would be the whole point? Why talk to other girls if they have no future? I've seen it too many times. Like, where I grew up, every weekend someone had just got out of jail or somebody just got divorced. Nobody realized how good they really had it. You had everything at home. Why can't people live by the stuff they just need? Why do they always got to want more and more and more? I'm not a material guy. I'm not. I'm a Sigma male.